In order to conceptualize the age we're in right now, or even this window of change that encompasses last year and the next few ones moving forward, we should imagine life like a grid of 100 blocks. Pre-pandemic, about 90 of those blocks, those aspects of life and society, were stable, and maybe 10 or less of them were moving around at any given point. But thanks to the pandemic, all of those 90 stable blocks, now they're the ones that are moving, and there's less and less stable aspects of life to hold on to. 2020 was hard on so many of us. It uprooted everything and set us on a new course. Yet looking back, it almost seems like it was an important thing that happened, because our old way of life was unsustainable. We were like a herd of buffalo heading towards a cliff, and while collectively uncomfortable, the pandemic seems to have served as a collective intervention, forcing us to assess our forward momentum as a species. It's brought so much up for us to deal with, from social systems to racism. And it's also brought up the subject of health. If you've been healthy, then the pandemic probably hasn't brought you so much stress so far, as the virus has mostly affected those with weaker immune systems. But the pressure may not let up so quickly. As you might know, a more deadly strain of the coronavirus has begun to emerge, affecting people with better immune systems than just the sick and elderly. From this awareness alone, the subject of health is even more critical as we move through this time we're in. And not just physical health, but mental health too. As so many retreat indoors and away from those around them, feelings of depression, loneliness, and anxiety end up skyrocketing. It is often said that distance makes the heart grow fonder. Generally speaking, if you've been distant from something for a long time, then it usually makes you feel like you appreciate it more. One example of this could be like growing up in a hometown that you didn't like very much as a kid, but after some time away, coming back, you might realize that your home wasn't as bad as you once thought. Truthfully, this is the same thing for us today with the pandemic. It is pushing us apart, especially physically, so that we spend less and less time with each other and we grow more distant than we once were. But this may very well end up being a catalyst for our collective growth though, making us have more appreciation for our connections to one another, not taking our friends and family for granted. To that end, the pandemic may have even collectively taught us lessons of personal hygiene, like washing our hands and keeping our space clean. For those on a more spiritual path, this may be even taken deeper as you clean up your own energetic field, cleaning up not just your physical body, but your mental body, your emotional body, and your energy body. As the virus gets deadlier, we are going to continue to be pushed in this direction, and those who don't have the potential to become more at risk of deadlier strains of the virus. Despite all of this, wouldn't it be amazing if we as a species could ride this wave of global changes into a more harmonious future together? But that's not necessarily something that's just going to be handed to us. In fact, the odds are stacked against us to really do that effectively. You know, there's an old saying that anytime there's a massive change in the world, someone gets rich. And what this is actually speaking to on a deeper level is that big changes means big opportunities. But usually, the people who are taking advantage of the opportunities are not the average people like you or me. It always ends up as those super rich people who've been preparing for the pandemic and other major economic shifts for years in advance. But personally, I'm very motivated to help create positive lasting change. And I believe that this starts with changing our thinking, because nearly all of the mystic writings from ancient times, and then even some of our greatest scientists in recent years, have expressed this idea that you create your reality and it starts from within. Einstein said we have to change our thinking to solve our problems. Nikola Tesla encouraged us to think of reality in terms of frequency and vibration. And if we can change our own frequency, our own vibration, our thinking, then we can become masters of our reality. And where before the pandemic, it was harder to move the blocks of life around, right now, all the blocks are moving and we can be the ones to make them move. Are we going to let the super elite of the world decide what the future is going to look like? Are we not going to participate at all? With this pandemic, millions of people around the world have used it as an opportunity to make shifts personally. People use their time in quarantine to learn instruments or take up new creative hobbies. Like that one guy who made a squirrel obstacle course, which was by far one of the best videos I think I've ever seen. Look at how creative we can be when we're emotionally and mentally balanced and centered, when we give ourselves the space to play with life instead of let it throw us around. At the end of the day, this comes down to our relationship with life, because not everyone was so fortunate to make big changes when the pandemic hit. Many people spiraled into chaos. But you know what? It actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're riding the wave of change or floundering underneath it, because all circumstances can change because all the blocks are moving. The wave that you're riding joyfully could toss you against some rocks, and the undertow that dragged you under could gently let you up on a beach where you meet the love of your life. Change is a constant, and for us, on a deeper level, it's about learning to flow with change gracefully. This is ultimately the purpose of today's video. This is a call to action for you to seize the day. Carpe diem. I want to invite you to ride the wave of transformation as it's happening, because you will never get this opportunity again. We all know it. The pandemic is not over yet, and it may not end for some time. It's most likely that our new normal is going to start to feel a little bit more rooted and established between 2023 and 2024. And this new version of normal will be nothing like how it used to be pre-pandemic, especially as we slowly emerge into a world of self-driving cars and everything being so automated. There's going to be less and less jobs for people in the world, which means there's more and more room for us to step into roles as creators. In fact, we're going to have to. Ask yourself, where are you going to be in that future? Think, 2 years from now, are you going to be happier and healthier than ever before? Are you going to be more connected to yourself, more creative, more empowered, more free? Or empty, scared, alone, and with a small energetic field because the world told you that you should be afraid? You are going to have to be the one to make that call. And listen, I'm sorry to say, a lot of people have already made that decision. Even right now, not everyone is working towards self-empowerment. Many people are giving up their power and living at a level of consciousness where they get whatever is given to them and don't insist that the quality of their lives look any particular way. If you consider for a moment that you are a creator, then a swirl of opportunities all begins with a very simple question to yourself. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to have? Take a moment to think about this. Let it sink in. And realize that very few people in the world truly let themselves be real with their heart's truth. It's often assumed that it's impossible to live the life of one's dreams, and thus so many people give up. It's like we've all forgotten that living the dream begins with dreaming the dream and then believing in it. I know for a fact that it's possible for you to get there. Sometimes all we really need is a pep talk, just like this one. And other times, we need some extra tools or some one-on-one support, and that's okay too. In fact, it's more than okay. It shows that you're willing to be open to receive support and wisdom. But straight up, you're one of the few. I can guarantee you that at this point in this video so far, there's probably less than half of the people who clicked on it who are still watching. That just comes with the territory of online videos and where people's attention spans are these days. This means that if you're still here, then you're in the minority who are still interested in this message and the possibility of something greater. And that's pretty amazing because it puts you in the group of those mold breakers who are not afraid to set the new status quo by moving our species forward into the embodiment of higher consciousness. So tell me, are you interested and willing to step into something new? Write, "I'm ready" in the live chat if you're willing to commit to yourself and your own personal evolution right now. Look at all that commitment right there. You are so awesome. Thank you. I love you. As I mentioned, sometimes a pep talk is really all you need, but other times you need some tools. And so I want to give you a free gift, a tool called the E.E.M formula. And it could be seen as a framework, a structure, or a practice that you can use in order to help yourself fulfill your highest potential. It's something that you can use to shift your experience into a stable, emotionally balanced one, and one that is aligned with your heart's calling. E.E.M stands for Esoteric Emotional Mastery. And today I want to give you a free download of a complete blueprint that will help you move forward right now. Wouldn't it be so powerful for you in your life if anytime a problem arose, you were able to handle it with clarity and wisdom and not get thrown about into an emotional loop or a mental struggle that drives you insane for hours, days, or even weeks? This gift that I'm giving you will teach you just that. It is a tool that you can use to master your own vibrational field from an emotional level, a heart level, and a mental level. It really is a map to your energy bodies, from your physical body through your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual energy body. This map will teach you how to master your fears because you'll see where they come from and how to overcome challenges that block your path. Many years ago, we actually animated this in a parable. The Buddha once met a man who said that he had all of these problems, 83 of them specifically, and needed help with each and every one. But the Buddha responded that he can only help with the 84th problem, which is the problem of having 83 problems. It is the foundation from which all other problems arise. And if we solve that, life falls into place and we rise to a new version of ourselves. For us, the way that we do this is through the E.E.M formula, mastering our bodies of consciousness. So you can find the link for this down in the description below. And I highly encourage you take advantage of this because it could very well set you on a path of transcendent change over these next few years. This new year is yours for the creating. But right now, things are so transient. Nothing is stable anymore. Businesses, relationships, homes, everything is subject to change. And when things start to solidify again in a new place, will you be where you want to be? That's up to you. But if you need some help, use the link in the description to get the E.E.M formula, along with a free exclusive video on how it works. And if you need even more personal one-on-one support, let us know. See you on the other side. Patchman out.